everybody, welcome to the Gluten-Free Italian. We are here live Sunday, and today we're making things a little different, not so much with an Italian flair as much as a health flair. So we are going to be making a vegetarian burger, which this is my first time making this type of vegetarian burger. I just kind of went with the flow and what sounded good. And I'm also making a beet salad today that's going to have some kale in it, some peaches because it's that time of year, peach time, and also some roasted carrots. So the beets I went ahead and roasted first. I'm going to go ahead and get those started. Let me step away just for a second from the vegetables and pull my hair back because I don't like cooking with my hair in my eyes. I'm going to wash my hands real quick and then we're going to get started. So I hope everyone is having a nice Sunday. It's definitely warm here in the South, but that's a good thing, I think. So I'm going to bring my beets and my carrots over here. So I'm putting carrots, beets, some scallions, and then my herbs with my, of course, Kalamazoo olive oil, honey, ginger, white balsamic. So I'll be using that today as well, and I'm going to be putting a little peaches in it. So let's get started because I know your time is valuable. And like I said, I've already done the beets. So what I did was I used 3 small beets. So they weren't very big. So I'm going to go ahead and put those right now in my dish. And I roasted them a little just to tender them up. And as you can see, I know you've got a sweet potato on here, which we may be using as well. I'm going to take this, put this back over here for now, because we're done with the roasting, and we're going to put this right in here. And the reason I start with and of course I wash the carrots, I like to keep the skin on them when possible. But the reason I start always with the salad is because I like the vinaigrette to marinate into the salad. I just think it gives it a better taste. I think the vegetables taste nicer and so have more of the flavor of the vinegar. So that's why I always start with the salad first, because I can wrap that in saran and go ahead and just put it in the refrigerator. So when everything else is done, it's ready to come out. So we'll be doing that. In just a second, because I've got a call coming in because I forgot to put my do not disturb on. So sorry about that. Okay, so we got that going. I'm going to put the remnants to the side. I'm going to go ahead and mix that up a little bit. You guys can see, doesn't that look lovely? So those are fresh beets and fresh carrots. They're chopped up right there. And I'm going to go ahead and get a scallion and put a scallion in it. Also, while I'm doing that, I'm going to get my heat started for what I'm going to be putting in season-wise in my veggie patties or veggie burgers. So a little bit of olive oil. Whenever I'm cooking, I actually use the store-bought Pompeii olive oil is a really nice one, and that always comes out good. I'm going to put just a hint of nutmeg in there, so that can roll up. And then we're going to do a little bit of garlic, but not much. So let me get that going really quick. And you have to remember, I showed you last week, you just pounce on it a little bit like that. And then you can go ahead and you can put it in your mincer if you want to, or you can just go ahead and mince it up. Whatever works best for you at the time. But it's been a busy day today. Oh my gosh, I got to have coffee this morning. First with one of my best friends. We have coffee every Sunday morning. And then with my 2 girlfriends from my company. And I am just loving it. You know, I've made these friendships that are just so amazing. But for the side business, I wouldn't even be, we probably would never have met. We talked about, we're all from different walks of life. One of them has been in the hair industry for years and years up in Chicago, and but her family, her parents are down in the Naples area, so that's cool. And then another one of the women, they're both named Kim, by the way, Kim O and Kim Eves. She has been in network marketing, but she's a foster mom and she got to adopt her kids, so we have that in common, and it's just so much good stuff. So what I did was I just chopped 3 small pieces of garlic, and I'm just going to put that aside, and that's what's going to help season the veggie patties once we get to that point. And the reason I came up with this idea for these veggie patties, there's this great little restaurant, family owned, this husband and wife own it. It's at the corner of 9th Avenue and 58th Street. And they opened a few months ago. Everything is homemade and it's just wonderful. And they even have gluten-free breads, gluten-free rolls, very, very, very friendly from a gluten standpoint and a vegetarian standpoint. So they have been trying to come up with a good recipe for a vegetable burger. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to test this out and see what I can come up with that might help them, because part of the problem is consistency and making sure that the veggie patty stays together the way you want it to. But anyway, so that's what made me come up with this idea to try out the veggie burger and see how that goes. And we'll get to that in a moment. But so I would love to hear from you all and see what you might like me to make sometime that is a gluten-free Italian dish that maybe you have been eating forever. Who knows? Or maybe you just tried it and it has gluten in it and it's a gluten pasta dish, whatever it is, because you know, I've already made gnocchi gluten-free and it came out really wonderful. I've made gluten-free lasagna, another big win, gluten-free chicken parmesan. So basically, if we can make it with gluten, we can make it without gluten. And it will taste, honestly, just as good as the gluten-free version. And sometimes I've made my meatballs gluten-free. My son, the last time he ate them, he said, Mom, are these gluten-free? Because they taste really good. And I'm like, yes, they're gluten-free. But they do taste good. Let me wash my hands real quick. Get this stirred up. Remove it. Lower that a little bit. It's on 8. And now what I'm going to do, so I have my scallions in here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up my peach, put my peach in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my herbs and finish with my vinegar. And we'll have that wonderful vinaigrette. I'm going to mix a little bit of honey in it. Even though it is a honey vinaigrette, I like to put a little bit in there. So I'm going to cut up my peach. And what's nice is, peaches smell so good. What's nice is this is going to let the peach relax. And you're going to see the flavor of the vinegar come in to the peach and just make it taste just lovely. We're going to be putting, again, like we did last week, I'm going to put a little bit of mint in here, but instead of basil this time, I'm going to be using fresh thyme. So I picked some thyme from my herb garden earlier, and that's what we're going to be going with. So let's see how that's going. That looks good. I'm going to remove this from the heat. Move this over, so we don't want anything to burn. We don't like burnt garlic. Burnt garlic is a no bueno garlic. Turn that off for a few minutes. Okay, so we have our scallions cut. So what I did was I used one whole scallion in this mixture. And now I'm cutting up some peach to put in it as well. And then we're going to quickly make up a little bit of vinaigrette, and we're going to toss that right in there. And again, at the end, you're going to get to see, and I told my girlfriends actually, side note, told my girlfriends that I'm going to cook dinner for them soon, and we're going to have kind of girls' evening out on the back porch where we can just chill. Put the fire pit on, have a glass of wine, and I'll go cook for them. It'll be so much fun. Getting the mixing bowl real quick. Because we don't need anything significant, and I'm only going to use a teaspoon. Where's all my measuring? Everything must be from cooking. Okay, we're going to take 1 teaspoon. If I can find the teaspoon. This is what happens as you get older, everybody. You can't see worth a squat. That's half a tablespoon. Okay, here's 1 teaspoon. We're going to put 1 teaspoon. Yeah, that's half a tablespoon. We're going to put 1 teaspoon of honey in here. Okay. Let that get in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put, let's see, let me measure it out and we'll go that way. I'm going to have to let this simmer. I'm going to put 1, 2, this is a thicker balsamic, 3 tablespoons of the white honey ginger balsamic. Pop this in the microwave for just like 12 seconds. Okay. And we're going to set this to the side. Just going to let that vinaigrette go in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thyme and I'm going to take my mint. And I'm going to chop the mint up, cut that up a little bit. And I'm just going to put 3 little sprigs of mint into this because I don't want it to overpower everything. Okay, so perfect. So see how loose that made the honey? So now I can stir it. It's very nice. It's nice and loose. I'm going to go ahead and just get all the honey out of my spoon. Let that get in there. And now set that to the side for a second because it won't take any time for that to cool down. And I'm going to take my mint. I'm going to put my mint into my vinaigrette. And remember, just 3 little sprigs, 3 little leaves of the mint because we don't want it to overpower anything. And then I'm going to take my thyme and I am going to put this big sprig of thyme in here. And this is going to be probably, let's see, about half a teaspoon to 3/4 of a teaspoon of thyme in here. And thyme is nice, and this is actually a lemon thyme, which is even better. So we get that in there, and before you know it, we will have dinner ready. Then we'll just have to make our patties, cook those, and go from there. Fun, fun, fun. I just love to cook. It's just, to me, it's so relaxing. And of course, you know, being Italian, it seems like that's just the thing to do as an Italian, is cook, because we love food. But healthier versions of food are really good. So much fun. Okay. And I do have to say, so this has been a little bit of prep, and I'll show you in a minute why. So it's probably took me about 20 minutes of prep time, maybe a little more, to get everything where I wanted it to be, so that I wasn't wasting too much of your time on here, because I know that it's Sunday. So, all right. So I have now my thyme and my mint in here, mixing it in, and now I'm just going to pour it over my beets and my carrots and peaches. I'm gonna mix this up. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I wish you all could smell it. Remember, I've got some scallions in there too. 1 scallion sliced. Okay, this is how beautiful this looks right now. Okay, I'm gonna put some saran over this, put it in the refrigerator, and then we'll be good to go. We'll let that do its thing. And then what we're going to do is scoop our mixtures together and get those onions and garlic and pepper out. And we'll be good. People are afraid of my refrigerator. So what I did initially was I took 1/3 I chopped up orange bell pepper, and I chopped up some sweet onion. a third cup of sweet onion, a third cup of the orange bell pepper, and that's what I just cooked up with 3 small cloves of garlic minced. So that's what we just did with that. And now what we're gonna do, putting this stuff aside, getting some of our little remnants out of the way, we're going to start by putting our other items together for the vegetarian burger. Now this is zucchini. This is 2 cups of shredded zucchini. That's why I said I had some prep work, but it doesn't really take long. So 2 cups of shredded zucchini right here. And I'm gonna put this in here first and foremost. Then I have 1 cup of yellow squash, shredded. I shredded that as well. Obviously, right? And then I have 1 cup as well of shredded carrots. So that's all going into our mixture. I also went ahead because I had made some corn on the cob this week. So I went ahead and I shucked some of the corn, and I have about half a cup to 2/3 of a cup of the corn, and that's going to go in the mixture in a minute. And then I have 3 mushrooms that I am going to go ahead and I'm going to cut up, and those are going in our mixture as well. So I'm going to mix all of this up that we have so far in there. Now you can, if you want to, you can use flour, rice flour. I mean, if you don't have a gluten intolerance or a celiac, then you can use regular flour, whatever you want. But I am using breadcrumbs because we're going to see how these turn out with breadcrumbs. Because I usually, when I'm making a burger or anything of that nature, I do use the breadcrumbs. So the gluten-free, of course. So I'm going to chop this up, put this in here. It doesn't take too long to do all of these things. I'm putting mushrooms. You can honestly, if you want to make a mushroom burger, you can make it, not a mushroom burger. If you want to make a vegetarian burger, you can put any vegetables in it that you want. Now, I know a lot of people use black beans. I'm not big on the black beans in my vegetarian burgers, but a lot of people like them, and I have eaten them. They're very good. It's just not the direction I wanted to go today with this particular recipe. I actually was going to put some cannelloni beans in the beet salad, and then I thought, wait a minute. It's springtime. Why not put peaches? Because lots of people like peaches, peach cobbler, peach this, peach that, right? So I went ahead and I chose peaches instead. I love being able to experiment. It's so much fun. And you come up with some really crazy recipes that you put these flavors together and people think, no way is that going to taste good. But I believe that when you're cooking from the heart, just about anything tastes good. I mean, it has to really be bad. But if you have a basic in cooking. And I love my mom. My mom's so funny because she's such a good Italian cook. I mean, honestly, everything that I've learned from my mom and for the most part, my mom and my grandmothers. And also my Aunt Nancy, who's not with us anymore because she used to cook Syrian food. And so I learned how to cook Syrian food from her. But most of what I learned was from my mom, but my mom will tell everybody before she got married, she didn't even know how to boil water, which is hilarious because she's such a good cook too. But my grandfather, her dad, was a chef, and so she just didn't learn, to cook because he was a chef, and so they were always doing things in that realm. Okay, I almost have all of my mushrooms. I tell you guys so much. More information than I should when I'm doing my little cooking shows, but it's fun. No harm, no foul. So I got to have lunch this week. I mean, I'm just having all these really great opportunities with girlfriends and friends, and just all across the board, and I love it. I had the opportunity to have lunch with a really good friend of mine that she and I have been friends for 17 years, Rachel Sartain, and she's an amazing woman in so many ways, but she's also an amazing real estate agent. And so let me get these this over here. Okay, so I've got my trilogy, which is my peppers, my onions, and my garlic, and I'm going to put all of this in, and it's a cast iron pan, and this thing is heavy. I'm going to put this in. Okay. And I'm going to be cooking in this pan again. I'm just going to leave it. I love cast iron pans. They're so great. Okay, we're going to mix all of this in, and I'm also going to add some salt. I thought I had my salt over here, but where is my salt? I'm going to pop some kale in the salad in just a minute once we get the burgers on. Okay, so I am going with a half a teaspoon of salt. I don't want to put a lot of salt in here. We'll see how it goes. You can always add salt. Salt to taste, that's what I always say, because I'm not really huge on salt. I don't like to use too much of it. So really, if you want more salt, more power to you, up to you. Now, I'm going to put a heaping tablespoon of mayonnaise in there, and probably a little half. So I would say that's probably 2 whole tablespoons of mayonnaise right there. I'm going to mix that in. I know you're going right now, mayonnaise? What are you doing with mayonnaise? And mix this in. And in a minute, I'm going to add sweet potato. Okay, putting that in there. Man, it almost looks like a yummy salad, doesn't it? Here we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my plain panko breadcrumbs, plain rather than seasoned, and I'm going to measure these out. Measure this out. This is my half a cup. So yeah, the corn is a half a cup. I'm going to put 1 full cup of the panko breadcrumbs, gluten-free, in my mixture. This to the side, because we can always add more. I'm really big. You can always add more. We're going to add some shredded Parmesan too in a minute, which you're going to be like, what? I know, I'm telling you. You'd be surprised at how good these different flavors taste together. All right, now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add an egg. So, and then I'm probably going to add another egg. Get that in there. Here's the problem with this, and something that we could consider that doing in the future is, because the vegetables have so much moisture in them, it's hard to make sure that they hold together. And that's really the trick with all of this, is getting them to hold together. That's one of the reasons, I oftentimes cook with mayonnaise. We're going to add some more breadcrumbs in just a minute. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sweet potato, and I'm going to add that into this too. And I'll tell you why I did that. So I went ahead, and this is, I would say, medium to small to medium sweet potato. And I went ahead and I baked it so that it softened up. And the reason we're going to be adding this is because we are going to have a stronger base by adding this. Okay, so go ahead and get that chopped up. And when I say a stronger base, something more of an adhesive for the veggie patty. Okay, because again, that's the trick. You've got all this moisture in these patties. In the vegetables, so you have to do something to help create an adhesive for it. Other than, unless you want to go with beans, which you can do a bean. And it doesn't have to be a black bean. Honestly, I could have added cannelloni beans to this, smushed those up and added those, and that would be good as well. Okay, so we've got all of that in there. I'm going to go ahead and add some more panko breadcrumbs, and then I'm going to add my seasoning. Sorry guys, I'm not measuring it. Okay, so we just did 3/4 of a cup more of the panko breadcrumbs, and we're going to go ahead, see how that works from the standpoint of getting it in our oil, because I like the way it looks right now. I like the way it looks. It's looking good. I'd like it to be a little more firm, but I'm going to test it out and see how it goes with this one. Now, the other thing we're going to do right now is I'm going to add my corn. Get that added in there as well. So what this means is we have shredded carrots, we have corn, half a cup of corn, we have shredded zucchini, shredded yellow squash, 3 mushrooms chopped up, our trilogy with our onion, garlic, and our pepper, not green pepper, but orange bell pepper. And then I'm going to put some thyme in here again. So here we are with the theme of the thyme. I generally, when I'm using herbs to cook, I will generally use the same herb several times in my different recipes. I think that it's nice because it carries the flavor through and you're not trying to mix too many different flavors. But that's just my personal preference, so it really is up to all of you. I'm going to just take this off of here the best I can to save some time. No pun intended. Save some time with my time. Okay, got that in there. So we're going to see how this goes in the mixture. Whether we can see, it's not going to be a firm, like it's not going to be a patty like you can, put together like you normally would. So probably what we're going to do is end up adding more breadcrumbs, which is fine. I'm going to get my stove going, my pan going on my stove. Get that in there and grab some more breadcrumbs. It's funny how the gluten-free breadcrumbs really okay. So another half a cup in there and see how we go. Okay, that's better because we don't want it to be overwhelming and overpowering with the breadcrumbs. Okay, so that means we've added 2 1/4 cups of breadcrumbs. And now we've got a nicer consistency. So that last batch gave us a nicer consistency with adding the breadcrumbs. I'm going to put these aside now. This should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to form up my first patty. And again, it's not going to be like a hamburger patty quite like that. It's more of a form it out, round it up, and see, you don't want to work with it too much because then it's just going to be a mess. And again, you can add more salt if you would like to, season to taste. And pepper, of course. I didn't add any pepper, but you could definitely add pepper too. Okay, so you've got that one in there. And then we're just going to see how it goes. It'll be good. My son will come out and say, what? But we have to get our fruits and vegetables in, right? I mean, that is so important. And I think that, especially as we get older, it's important. But as our little kids, I mean, there are so many great recipes out there and great things we can do with vegetables. Look at how beautiful that patty looks. That is amazing. I can't wait to taste this. Put that one in there. And if this recipe goes well, I'm going to let my friends know about it and they can use this at the restaurant. I do have to start doing some things with all of my recipes, but for now it's okay. So you can see all of the different vegetables. It's just a medley of vegetables. I just love the way this looks. And again, like I said, it's so good because think about it. You're getting all these fruits and vegetables. And here's the thing. There's no way for us to eat enough fruits and vegetables on a daily basis to really get what we need, right? But that's okay. We can compensate with other things that we can add into our diet, which are good, whether they're phyto greens, whether they're phyto vegetable fruits, whatever they are, to help compensate. Because honestly, I don't think I could possibly eat enough fruits and vegetables to really get what I need to on a daily basis. Okay. There we go. We've got our first ones in there. I'm going to wash my hands. And I'm going to take some of this kale. Just one sprig of kale. We're not going to overdo it today. And I'm going to chop this up. This kale up, and no, it's not going in our vegetable burger. What I am going to do though is add just this one sprig of kale to our salad, our beet salad, beet and carrot salad. Now, you don't have to do that. It's really your call. But I love the way it will add some green to the salad. And also, we know kale is good for us. So we have to do it in ways that really make a difference. I love my girlfriend Sarah Cheney the other day did a really cute little reel on how we get, fruits and vegetables and balance our diet. And she said, oh, please tell me it's not kale. Please tell me it's not kale. And I laughed because I eat kale all the time. Okay, put a little bit of that in there. And see what's happening is we've got juices now forming at the bottom. You can see the juices are, well, you can't see, but because the vegetables are falling into place. But what's nice is the juice is forming at the bottom from our vinaigrette, and it smells so lovely. So put that up. That's up there. And let's see how these are going. This. Ooh. Nice, nice, nice. And it held together. It's holding together. That's what we want. We want it to hold together. There's a little more oil in here. And I'm going to lower the heat on that. And then before we know it, we're going to be ready to plate this and see how it tastes. So, very good. It's been a busy Sunday. I still have a lot to do. I had to get online real quick with the students. I had to go run, and I was going to actually ride and work my horse because yesterday's ride was not the best with him, which is not normal. He's such a great horse. So I knew something was up. So when I worked him today, I noticed that he was lame. He was limping on one side. And so he must have pulled a muscle or something, so I couldn't ride him today, which was fine. But I'm glad I saw what was actually going on with him. I'm going to get this here. Flip this one over. Oh my gosh, those are looking so nice. We want to keep them on for a few minutes because we've got the vegetables that we want those to meld together and to soften up further and get all of that going. So anyway, so it's been a busy day. So I came home, then I had a wonderful live coffee with girlfriends, and then I had to go to the grocery store, came back. I mean, it's just been a crazy busy day. And then before you know it, it's time for other things. So in between, made sure I got with my students, made sure they're okay. So we're getting there. And so what I'm going to want before I remove them is more firmness. Like this one right here, the smaller one, is getting nice and firm. And what I'm going to want is to feel that firmness in the patty before I remove it. And that's what I do with my meatballs as well. When I make the meatballs, is I want to make sure that that they have a firm feel to them before I remove them, because otherwise that means that they're not done in the middle. Let's flip this one again. Oh, very nice. Flip this one again. This one. Giving me a little hard time. This one again. Very nice. These are reminding me of my tuna and my other patties, my salmon patties like I made last week. And the salmon patties that I made last week, I would definitely use a little less salt with them than I used. So I put in the recipe last week half a teaspoon of salt, because I'd rather add salt than have too much salt in it. Okay, remove this first one. Remove the second one. And see how when I'm removing them, you see how they're firm now? Like they're not mushy. Even if I push down on them, they're not mushy. That's what you want in any patty that you make. So if they're too mushy, they're not going to come out right. Yeah, this one didn't want to come out as well as the others. So here we are, and we have our 3 patties right here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to overlay that one there. And now I'm going to scoop out, remove this off of the heat. I can let that finish cooking in a minute. Move that off of my heat. And hold on just a second. We're going to scoop out some of our salad, which I know is going to taste even better in an hour. So I'm just going to do a little spoon just so I can get all the flavors together. And we can plate it up and see how beautiful it looks. Remember, I put peaches in here. A little bit of kale. Peaches. I used my honey, ginger, white balsamic vinegar. Look at that. Looks fantastic. And I'm trying to find the peaches. Okay. Get another peach on there. And put this to the side. And now we're going to try it. So this is our plate. Okay, and we're going to try it and see how it tastes. First, the veggie patty. Okay, so here we have, ooh, look at that steam coming out. This is what it looks like on the inside. Mmm. It's very good. Very, very good. You can taste the sweetness from, I think, the carrot and the sweet potato. So it gives a little bit of sweetness. Very nice, though. Very tender. Let's try our salad. Our beets. Mmm. So with this, you can taste the balsamic vinaigrette and the other flavors with the mint and the thyme. Now this is the carrot and the peach. Very good. Try the recipe out at home. See if you like it. You know, I'm a firm believer in doctor it up if you want to, so that it reflects your personality and the things that you like in it. And that's what I did here. So we created our veggie burger. So very, very healthy. It's not vegan though, because we did use eggs. Then we could have also used a cheese in here. I meant to do that. I meant to pop some Parmesan cheese in here. You could also use some cheese in there as another form of glue as well to keep it all together. So thank you for joining, and I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, the rest of it. Bon appetit. Ciao.